Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and welcome to our first flight in the Leonardo Fly the Maddog 20th Anniversary Edition. Just released for Flight Simulator 2020 as well as 2024. You can get it from SimMarket for the price of a couple of coffees for those of you upgrading from a previous version, or for approximately 77 euros depending on your local sales tax. The airplane is a port from the P3D version, but they've added quite a lot of stuff, mainly new textures and a new cabin model to the aircraft, and they've combined the three different versions of the aircraft into one package. So you now get the MD-82, the MD-83, as well as the MD-88 in the same package. Today we're going to have a look at everything that's new in this lovely little airplane, so follow me inside for a flight from Brussels all the way to Oslo. We can simply take a seat over here on the captain's seat and get started with the cockpit safety inspection procedures. So that's gonna be battery switch on, and that is down here. Then we check the windshield wiper to be in the off position. We got the landing gear lever down and in. The auxiliary hydraulic pumps down here are off. The slap and flap lever is in the up and retracted position. Speed brake lever is retracted and disarmed. Circuit breakers are back here, and yep, they are all in on this side. And then we got the circuit breakers at the top over here, which are simulated, and those are all in as well. So the APU is not going to be required just yet, so let's go ahead and turn on the external power, bringing our lovely MD-80 to life. It also has a new sound set fitted to it, so I'm excited to hear what that is going to sound like. Now from here, let's go on and do a couple of tests. So,
PA and emergency light test.
and with that, let's also turn on the emergency lights. Hi, flight deck. Well, I suppose that means emergency light test complete. So let's switch them into the arm position. Cool, then our station lighting is set up. The brightness selectors are all up, beautiful. And with that, we are ready to start with our remaining procedures. So, cabin pressure control lever is checked auto, rudder and aileron trims are in the 0 position. Well, so with that out of the way, I suppose we'll set the position strobe light into the both position, and then we can head out for our walk around and have a look at the brand new model that the Maddog comes with. By the way, lovely jet bay model as well here. I just totally love those Yoke and Sun sceneries, and today we are flying from one to the other. So, starting our walk around right up here, we got an AOA vane that's in good shape. Our external power is plugged in down there. Little look at the nose wheel. And well, this is what it looks like. So then, pitot tubes located on the top of the airframe, and on this side we do once again have an AOA vane and a tap probe. Well, this is what it looks like. Okay, moving along the aircraft, we got the right entry door. Do note that there are unfortunately no click spots over here. I would kind of have hoped to get those, because they already had that stuff in the P3D version of the aircraft. So, would have been nice if they had added that back in, but who knows, maybe it's going to come with a post-release update. Okay then, let's have a look at the leading edge of our wing over here, and well, if we just get really close up, then you can see it's a little bit pixelated down there. But if you go a little bit further away, then it's totally fine. Oh, who's turned on some hydraulic pumps over here? Alright, so nav lights, green one on the right hand side of the plane is looking good. Our landing lights are undamaged as well. Again, do note the quality of the aircraft over here. It's certainly looking pretty nice, even though by nowadays standards you could expect a little higher level of modeling. Like, for example, here you can see the different polygens. The same goes over here at the front. So yeah, that is something that could certainly have been improved a little bit. Well, it has been improved from the previous version, but I guess you know what I mean. Alright, so main landing gear, and well, that is kinda looking okay, no damages. Is that a brake fan over here? Very hard to tell what it actually is. Alright, so let's get to the engines. We got the famous JT9D engines in the airplane. Did I say 90? JT80, of course. I do really like the level of wear and tear that they put on this. That just looks fantastic, doesn't it? On the other hand side, looking at the textures over here from the shadows, those could probably use a little bit of an improvement. But I suppose since they kept it compatible with FS 2020, and since they just reworked the port of the airplane, as they said themselves, this is somewhat what we have to deal with. On the positive side, though, you do get an upgrade for approximately $30 US from the previous version of the aircraft to this one, so I'm not going to complain about that. Alright, tail of the plane looks quite good. We do have the registration over here. The question is just, should we have a complete registration there? Like, there? Yeah, okay, the complete one's over there, that's fine. Alright, cool. So we can see that our flaps are slightly extended over here. That's kind of what they do when they are depressurized. And I really have to say the level of system simulation in this airplane is fantastic. Alright, that's the Brussels over there that's getting a little loud. We should probably have brought our ear protectors. Okay, so static ports are checked and everything else is looking good. Well then, let's get back inside and let's have a very quick look at the passenger cabin before we go into the remaining procedures, because this is what it looks like, and the passenger cabin has really seen a huge upgrade from the previous version. So let's just take a seat over here in one of the economy class seats. And well, you can see that the PSUs over here have been greatly redone from the previous versions. Now, this is what the view looks like outside of the window, and well, I really gotta say, I miss those times when you had those aircraft with the wings in the back where you simply had an unobstructed view outside. That's one of my biggest points of critique in nowadays aviation. Unless you want to pay for a business class ticket where you're sitting in the front where it's nice and quiet, you're either sitting in the very back of the airplane if you want an unobstructed view outside, which is obviously going to be very loud due to the proximity of the engines, or you would be sitting over the wing. Alright, so here's the aft galley. This is what it looks like. There are a couple of click spots here, but I don't see what they're doing. Probably reaching all the way to the front of the aircraft. But yeah, overall, I would say the graphics are certainly much improved over the previous version. This must be an interesting area to sit in. I mean, imagine sitting over here right next to the engine. That's probably going to be loud, and you don't see anything either. And if you don't know what type of aircraft you will be flying in, and you think like, oh yeah, I reserved myself a window seat, you might be in for a surprise. Alright, so that much about it. Then we do, of course, have the aft entry with the extendable stairs. But yeah, today we are not going to use them. Today we do have the jetway. So a couple of toilets back here as well, but unfortunately I don't see any click spots, and yeah, there's no toilet in here. But okay. Overall, very, very interesting aircraft. I mean, the MD-80 is just, I don't know, I like it. I really do like it. What's worth mentioning as well is that there are MobiFlight profiles available, so that you can combine your MD-80 with a lot of the existing WinWing hardware. So, for example, I will be using my WinWing 737 MCP and my 737 CDU today to operate the equipment in the MD-80's flight deck. So, something that is worth mentioning over here is that you do have functioning controls on the cabin attendant panel, and well, that is quite nice. That definitely is quite nice. Alright then, that much about our cabin. Let's go ahead and take a seat in the pilot seat. And, well, the walkaround is looking good. We are back on duty. So let's go ahead and start with a bit of our setup. So we'll start with the electronic flight folder, where we are going to import our SimBrief OFP. And here we go, Scandinavian 4744 from Brussels to Oslo. Starting with the... we really not have any en route charts? Okay. Well, I suppose then we'll have to stick to the weather. So, destination, Oslo, Gardermoen. The wind 03084, Cav OK, 0 degrees, 1023 Nosig, and our alternate and top is the same thing, so no reason to take any extra fuel for that. So, looking into the flight plan, an on-time departure means an on-time arrival, and going down into the fuel section, we need 7.8 plus taxi, so since this is our first flight with a model, I would say we just make it 8.5 tons of fuel. So let's go down here into the weight and balance app, and we're looking for... Did I just really say 8.5 for a 1 hour 40-minute flight? Damn, this thing is eating through fuel. Okay, well, yeah, so be it. 8.5. Let's go right up here. We do need a little bit more fuel. 8.5 means 4,250 on the left side. Why can't I edit that? 140 passengers is correct. 1,820 kilos of cargo in the hold. All I would need now is a little bit more fuel. So, 4,250. Nope. Okay, well, then 500 into the center tank it is. So, 8,524. That looks better to me, doesn't it? So, the airplane has automatically loaded it over here. So, what we can do next is to go into the aircraft services, and down here we can go to GSX. No? Nothing happening, okay. Well, then let me quickly show you the different options that are available for the aircraft while I'm restarting GSX in the background. So as you can see, quite a bit of stuff. Now, my favorite one is the ability to switch between the FMSs. You can either have the Honeywell FMS, which is the one with full LNAV and VNAV capability, or you can go for a slightly older Canadian PMS system, which is really interesting, but absolutely deserves its own video. So, quite a couple cool things. I am also going to inhibit the gear warning above 1500 RA, and that's it. Alright, cool. So, still no GSX. Okay. Well, I suppose. What is it doing? Yeah, remote control, that's where you're supposed to be. But, ain't working. Okay. So be it. Then let me try to restart GSX another time. I swear it worked when I used it to connect the jetway. Sometimes this is such a strange program. Okay, now it's turning darker. Let's try that again. GSX. What is it doing? God, this add-on. I don't know what it is, why we always have problems with it. But that means our pushback is going to be interesting. I mean, the other controls work. It's not like the EFB would be broken. It's got to be GSX once again. Oh god, terrible add-on. Let me try that one more time. No. Just nothing. Okay, we'll keep it at that. Alright then, let's quickly go ahead and do a service check. So, brand new aircraft, as you can see, very first flight. Weekly check expired. Let's quickly do that check down here to see what the logbook is going to give us, but looks like our airplane is in a good condition. Does it have any history? No, obviously it doesn't. And the weekly check, well, it should be carried out now. Okay. And GSX is just dead. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Okay, well, so be it. The only question is how are you going to get rid of the remainder of these services then, but I suppose we will find out when the time has come. So yeah, let me try to restart GSX one more time in the background. That's turning dark. I'll give it a while. We'll get back to this later. Let's go ahead by doing the cockpit preparation procedure. So park and brake is set. So landing light switches are off on the flight guidance panel. We can turn the flight directors on. Okay, here we go. Flight directors are on. Then I'm going to skip over the autoland check, or will I? No, I'll tell you what, let's do it. 1101, just some ILS frequency, here we go. And autoland pre-flight test is in progress. Then, first flight of the day, autopilot switch coming on and disengaging properly. Excellent, just like it should be. Okay, cool. Then we can test the EFIS control panel. And that is also looking good. For the altimeter, any warnings are out of sight. Then static air selector is in the norm position. Oxygen mask is down here. That's looking good. Alright, on the pedestal, stabilizer trim is functioning. Alternate stabilizer trim is functioning. Alright, then let's get started on the overhead panel. So up here everything is in normal. The galley power can come on during the turnaround, but we'll have to switch it off again later. Up here everything's set. Down here fasten seatbelt signs are coming on and the windshield anti-ice is coming on. Starting on the right hand side then, up here everything's set. Now we need our flight data, and today is the... oh, what is it actually? The 21st of December. Our flight number is going to be 4744 and it is the second leg of the day. Insert that. Alright, so down here everything's tested. Now, anti-skid test is looking good. Stall warning. Overspeed. Alright, ICE FOD test is also looking good. Then, up here everything's set. We can turn the bleeds on already. Landing data, let's see. Field elevation should be roughly 600 in Oslo. And the QNH I think was around about 1013. So, light test is looking good. And we don't need to dim them. Alright, beautiful. Then going down on the main panel, let's erect the standby. Like that. QNH over here we'll find out in a few moments. Fire test. Alright, works just about fine. So ART can already go into the off position. Takeoff flags is selected. Weather radar is in weather and turbulence now. Alright, transponder 2000 and flight ID is going to be Sierra Alpha. Oh. Sierra Alpha Sierra 4744. Okay, transponder number 1, standby is good. VHF 2 should be 1:1.5. VHF 1 will set later on and auto brake into RTO and ARM. Alright, cool. Then we can move up to our FMC. And here we got an MD-82 with a JT8D engine. Nav database is up to date. Well then, let's go on to position in it, where we can copy and paste the GPS position. and then onto the route, which we are going to enter in a few moments. But let's start going to the menu and the ACARS, because we got a couple things to set over there. So pre-flight, init data, we are the flight number 4744, going from Echo Bravo Bravo Romeo to Echo November Golf Mike. The scheduled date is the 21st. Estimated time of departure 1030. Estimated time en route 0155. ATC ID Scandinavian 4744 and airline ID is SK. Alright, so that stuff is filled out. Then let's continue into the weight and balance. And for that we do need our flight plan. So, fuel usage 4738. Taxi fuel is 272, block fuel 8500, and our performance limiting restricted takeoff weight is probably not going to be limiting at all today. But let's have a look. Performance, Brussels, dry. Well, tell you what, we do quickly need to request the ATIS for this. So, requests ATIS. Echo Bravo Bravo Romeo departure ATIS sent. I'm also quickly going to request the flight plan, and then let's see, ATIS Brussels. Information Golf, runway 7 right for departure, wind 105 at 6. Cover K, 11 degrees, 1010, transition level 60. Okay. Oh, that was a little bit quick. So, 1010. And that's set on all 3 sides. Good, so let's quickly enter that. Performance, Brussels, dry, that's 100 at 5, temperature 10. QNH 1010. Okay, the runway is gonna be 07 right, flaps optimum, anti-ice off, packs on, and calculate. So, max takeoff weight is 72,853. So, pre-flight weight and balance 72,853 for the restricting takeoff weight. And that just gets us down to the certified max takeoff weight. That's fine. Let's send that. Okay, good. So we do have a crew message in here, which is preliminary weight and balance. Air fuel 50.4, CG 9.7. That's all looking good. Okay, lovely. And the flight plan is downloaded as well. Perfect. All right, cool. Then we got all this lovely stuff, so let's go back into the FMC and see what we can do. Down here on the right side, I am going to open the flight plan message, because that way our setup gets a little bit easier. So we got via routing EBBR ENGM. Company route, here we go. So departure arrival, departing runway 07 right. And we got the Nikki 3 Victor departure. Now let's go back to index and arrival, and we'll choose the ILS approach to runway 1 left, I think. Can we see which runway has been filed in here? No, we can't. Okay, that's fine. Well, then we'll just plan runway 1 right for the time being. We can always replan if it becomes necessary. We're arriving via Repam, so let's select the... where is it? Where are my Repam arrivals? Oh, there they are. Okay, Repam 3 Lima arrival. Cool. And then let's go to route and activate. Alright, performance initialization. Cost is 35, we can keep that. Ultimate 1.5, final 1.2, so we're looking at 2.7 tons of reserve fuel. We got 50.4 as 0 fuel weight. Fuel is 8.4 with the normal schedule. Cruising in flight level 350. Cruise winds, let's see where they are. Here we go, 209 at 26. So, ISA deviation. Top of climb, OAT minus 60. Alright, and 4501 for the transition altitude. Here we go. Cool. Apart from that, let's also go to the fix page. We got EBBR and a 25-mile ring around this for the engine outset. Can we actually not do that in the MD-80? What if we just put 25? I think that's gonna be okay. Alright, cool. And that should be it. Where is it? Well, no, 25 just draws a radial. Okay, then I'm just going to remove this. Alright, good. So that's our FMC programming complete. In that case, I think we've discussed pretty much everything we needed. So let's go ahead and request our departure clearance. First of all, you're gonna get out of the ACAS so that we can get into the ACAS. So, pre-flight departure request, and that's gonna be Asus. I think it was Zulu. Station is gonna be Brussels. And our gate is 161. We'll also tell him good morning. Well, edit, good morning. Interesting, doesn't let me insert that. Okay. Well, then we do it without being friendly. So we're going from Brussels to Oslo, Scandinavian 4744, MD-82, recipient Brussels, and send. So with that, our IFR clearance is requested, and for our entire ATC we will be using Say Intentions AI today, who are also the sponsor of this channel. If you're looking for an air traffic control add-on and you like what you're going to see in today's video, then do check them out using the link in the video description below. Thank you very much for considering it, and now let's get on with our departure. So the clearance should arrive any moment. What we can already do in the meantime is just to go down here into the Navigraph charts and simply pick what we need. So we are departing Brussels. Taxi charts, let's see what we got in here. Airport, yep, we'll need that. And parking stands, we'll need those as well. Alright, then we do need our SID charts, and we're looking for the Nikki 3 Victor, if I remember that correctly. Yep. Here we go, Nikki 3 Victor on of departure. So Nikki is 17.4. Like that, and then we got, well, straight ahead, runway track until 700, then 062. Here we go, 062, and then a left turn direct to the station. So, yep, I'm just gonna tune 062 on the other side here as well. Here we go. Cool, initial climb from this one should be flight level 60. Like that, and finally the runway heading for runway 07, right. Is 069. Alright, and that's it. Just while I'm on it, you want data, you want airports, and you want a map. Always good to know what your first officer wants, isn't it? Cool, so with that we're pretty much set up. Can already press the toga button. Well, the toga button. Here we go. And that's it. So, I don't think we ever got a reply to our clearance request. Let's check that real quick. Received messages. No, we didn't. Okay. Well, maybe the data link is down. Let's go ahead and request that clearance via voice then. Let me see what the delivery frequency is. Brussels delivery 121.955. Interesting, it lost that call sign. Okay, this is better. Brussels delivery, Scandinavian 4744, information Zulu, request IFR clearance to Oslo.
I'll have your clearance in just a second.
Cool, he's working on it. Then while he's doing it, I suppose we can get started on our takeoff briefing.
Scandinavian 4744.
Yeah, here we go.
Cleared to Oslo via the Nikki 3 Golf departure, runway 25 right. Initial climb to flight level 060. Departure on 127.575 squawk 5551.
Scandinavian 4744 is cleared to Oslo via Nikki 3 Golf departure, runway 25 right. Climb flight level 60, departure 127.575 squawk 5551.
Scandinavian 4744, readback correct. Ground is on 121.88, safe flight, sir.
121.88, Scandinavian 4744. Bye-bye. Alright, cool, here we go. So, 5551, flight level 60, and then we just gotta change the departure. It's now 25 right, Nikki 3 Golf.
Scandinavian 4744, Brussels Airport ground, runway 88, does not...
Yeah. Okay, here it is. So, after Nikki, Lima 1712 Vicot, that sounds okay. Okay, so very quick check, Nikki 3 Golf.
Please take your seats according to your boarding passes and stow your hand luggage in the overhead bins or under the seats in front of you. If you need any assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to any member of our crew. Thank you and enjoy your flight.
Here we go, Nikki 3 Golf on-off departure. Straight at 700, right turn direct to the station. Okay, easy. And with that comes, of course, runway 25 right, which has a runway track of 244. So let's quickly dial that up as well. 244, and, well, I'm gonna set the course to that as well. Here we go. Cool. So, that's our setup completed. Are you ready for the briefing? Threats for today's departure? I honestly do not see any, so up to your part. Departing Brussels, runway 25 right, Nikki 3 Golf, climbing flight level 60, 3000 feet keeps us safe, and we have 500 kilos extra fuel, which equals roughly 15 minutes. For our taxi out, we do not have any hotspots, except for, well, that thing at the runway over there. So taxi straight out, then probably via the outhouse to Bravo 1, and we will be able and happy with the Bravo 1 intersection, but we have to remember to calculate the performance for that. Apart from that, engine out sits straight at 25 miles still, and 2,200 keeps us safe, so 3,000. If we need to come back, runway 25 left is available, and runway 25 right are available, both with ILS approaches. We're under the maximum landing weight, so if we need to make an immediate return, that's possible without any further considerations. I've got nothing special, I've got nothing non-standard. Do you see any threats? No? Alright, then that's our briefing completed. So let's do the cockpit crew checklist, please. DFDR set, HRS alignment checked, FMS set, emergency lights test on, no smoking on, windshield anti-ice on, engine sync off, stall warning tested, air conditioning supply on, position and strobe light both. Fire protection tested, TRI tested, fuel quantity 8,500 kilograms, altimeters, QNH 1010 reading 140 cross-checked, fuel shut-off is closed, and cabin pressure auto, cockpit crew checklist complete. Alright, so far so good, then let's do our takeoff performance. Well, or let's start with a load sheet, however you want to do that. I suppose takeoff run available, runway 25 right from Bravo 1 is 3266. So let's go up here, performance runway 25 right, and the full runway is 3638, so yeah, let's just say 400 meters shortening from the beginning. Cool, like that. So, for our weight and balance, we got a zero fuel weight of 50.5. That's 100 kilo more than planned, 59 tons takeoff weight. And that matches with the load sheet. So, takeoff weight 59 tons. Calculate. And that leads us to flaps 6.5 at 50 degrees. So starting with this, assume temperature is 50 degrees. Then we got flaps 6.5. The CG is 14, the takeoff CG, which is down here. And that leads us to a takeoff trim of about 6 units. Here we go, 6 units trim is set, and the dial flap selector goes to 6.5. Here we go, beautiful. We'll just put the flight director back into takeoff mode over here, and then let's start the APU. Start pump on, APU master, start. Okay, here we go. APU start is commencing. Then let's see if we can get a pushback tuck somehow. Yes, we can. Nice. Okay, prepare for pushback and departure. Handling by Avia partner is fine. You want to start the engines before pushback? No. Okay, close the main door, please. Alrighty, and the APU is available. And on the bus. So, external power disconnected. We gotta wait a minute until we can start the APU. Or the APU bleed. So let's start the timer for that one. And then we've got all that. Now, I did forget one thing earlier. That was the takeoff speeds, 37, 42, 51. No, 52. 37, 42, 51. So, takeoff. 137, 142, and 151. Here we go. So that's all set. Beautiful. Then we can set our speed box according to that. And V2 is 151. Here we go. Alright, lovely. Then all of that good stuff is done, so let's go ahead and call ground for our pushback clearance. And let's quickly go ahead and disconnect the external power, please. Well, I suppose there is just one pushback clearance possible, so that's fine. And ground GPU remove. Remove. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I guess they're going to remove it on their own the moment we start the pushback. So let's call for clearance. Brussels ground, Scandinavian 4744, request pushback and startup.
Scandinavian 4744, pushback and startup approved. Face northeast.
Pushback and startup approved, facing northeast, Scandinavian 4744. Alright, before start procedure, please. And those anti-collision on, and that should remove the GPU the latest, shouldn't it? Okay, before start checklist. Parking brake and pressure set, and pressure is rather low. Let's actually turn on the hydraulic pumps. Okay, so parking brake and pressure set and checked. Pneumatic pressure, we've got 40 psi. Engine ignition, second flight of the day, set to B. Tank pumps on, seatbelts on, anti-collision light on, APU norm econ, norm. Air conditioning supply off, galley power off, pneumatic thrust feeds open, and thrust levers idle. Before start checklist complete. So ground from flight deck, pushback and startup are approved facing northeast, and the parking brake is now released. Roger, starting the pushback, stand by for engine start. And with that, here we go. Our first movement message of the brand new Leonardo MD-82 20th Anniversary Edition.
Cabin attendants armed towards the cross check. Ladies and gentlemen, Scandinavian Airlines Flight 4744 flying to Oslo. Our estimated flight time is approximately 1 hour and 40 minutes. We kindly ask you to pay close attention to the upcoming safety demonstration, as it contains important information for our fellow flyers. Now please fasten your seatbelts by
Okay then, ground from flight deck, we'll be starting engines 2 and 1 in that sequence, and we'll begin with engine 2 now.
must be fastened whenever the seatbelt sign is illuminated. Please return your seat backs and tray tables to the upright position, and open your
N2,
windows for takeoff and landing.
all pressure.
Mobile phones and electronic
N1 is coming very early for my taste, but
devices like laptops should be securely stowed during takeoff and landing.
so here's 20%.
Smoking and the use of e-cigarettes are strictly prohibited anywhere on board, including the lavatories. In the unlikely event that oxygen masks are needed, they will
Tower 159, a request push and start.
hold the mask firmly towards you. Place it over your nose.
159, a push and start approved.
Please secure your own mask before assisting others.
Push and start approved. Tower 159er.
Seat
Okay, start a cutout, monitor 2, starting 1.
head, fasten it, and inflate it.
And the pushback is completed, set parking brakes.
We also have special life vests for children available.
Parking brake set.
We'll guide you to the nearest exit.
And 2,
Clearly marked.
all pressure, and 1.
2 in the rear and 1 over each wing. Please note that the nearest exit may be behind you. In case of evacuation,
20%.
personal belongings behind and follow the rules instructions.
Ready to tack.
If you notice that any of your electronic devices
36 Quebec Lima, runway 25.
So I really have to say, the sounds have drastically improved compared to the earlier versions of the Maddog.
Whiskey 41.
Thank you.
We do hear the engines now, not too loud, but present.
Runway 19er, then Foxtrot 5, Whiskey 4, Whiskey
Okay,
4,
start a
36
cutout.
Quebec Lima.
Monitor number 1. Number 1 stable. Alright, you're clear to disconnect. Show me the pin on the left hand side and have a wonderful day. Bye bye. So there's a tuck. There's the ramp agent, and he's holding the pin. Loving it. And before I forget about it, let's close that, and flight deck access system is on. Alright. Cool. So, start pump can certainly go off. We'll leave the standard fuel pumps on. APU is not needed any longer.
Itara 159er, runway 25 right, taxi via Romeo 2, Juliet Inner, Echo 6, hold short,
Okay.
runway 19er, then Foxtrot 5, Whiskey 4, Whiskey 41.
So, flaps 6.5.
Runway 25 right, taxi via Romeo 2, Juliet Inner. Echo
Flight control
6,
track.
Hold short of runway 19er, then
Full up.
Foxtrot 5, Whiskey 4,
Full down.
Whiskey 41, Itara
Neutral.
159er.
Full left. Full right. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. And neutral. After start checklist. Electrical system checked. Galley power on. Ignition off. Pitot and static heaters
Ground
capped.
250 Echo, taxi to the
Anti-ice
gate.
off. Air conditioning supply. Auto. Door lights off. Hydraulic systems
Short of runway 1, then Echo 3, Inner.
on and high. After start checklist complete.
Charlie 4, hold short of runway 1, then Echo 3, Inner uniform, Beauty 50 Echo.
Scandinavian 4744. Request taxi.
Iberia 597, give way to the Turkish 21 on your right.
Give way to the Turkish 21, Iberia 597.
Scandinavian 4744, runway 25 right, taxi via Romeo 4, outer 7, Echo 6, hold short of runway 19er, then Foxtrot 5, Whiskey 4, Whiskey 41.
Scandinavian 4744, taxi to holding point runway 25 right via Romeo 4, outer 7, Echo 6, hold short 19er, thereafter Fox 5, Whiskey 41. So, now the difficult question, where is that? So, Romeo 4 straight ahead, outer 7, and then we will need the ground chart. So, outer 7, then he said Echo... He wants us to cross the runway and go all the way around? Interesting. Okay, that's what we'll do. So, clear on the left side, clear on the right side, taxi light on, park and brake off. Let's go. So let's do a config check, see what I forgot. Nothing. I like it. Brake check. Looking good. Alright, so we go straight out and then it's going to be the second taxiway on the left hand side. So nosewheel steering does work. Just a quick check over here. First flight with a new aircraft. Always got to be a little bit careful here. Okay, that's a couple of cars, but nothing crossing now. That's good. So let's just go on to the live taxi chart, because that is easier. Alright, clear left side and clear right side. Second taxiway to the left, which is the outer 7. A little bit fast, let's slow her down. And here we go, that says outer 7 on here. And with that Turkish, probably also going to runway 25 right over there. I guess there is no sense asking for an intersection, so we'll just have to stick with it the way it is and follow the Turkish. Okay, so taxi checklist. TRI ART is off, VBUX. We got V1 137, VR 142, V2 151, and our clean speed is... Well, flap retraction 156, flat retraction at 190, and clean speed 233. Okay, flight guidance system is set, nav armed, flight controls tested, flaps and slats are at 6.5 extended, takeoff briefing and data. It's left seat takeoff, 25 right, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure 2 with the acceleration in 1500. And just while we're at it, Scandinavian 4744, request crossing runway 01.
Scandinavian 4744, cross runway 01, then continue taxi.
Crossing runway 01, approved Scandinavian 4744. Alright, perfect. So we're cleared across, the left side is clear and the right side is clear. Okay, beautiful. Then let's continue with our departure briefing. So takeoff speeds 37, 42, 51, sit straight ahead 700 feet, then a right hand turn, direct Niki VOR, climbing flight level 60, contact departure when advised, and he will tell us the frequency again anyway. Apart from that, we've got nothing special, we've got nothing non-standard, engine out straight at 25, MSA 2200, so climbing to an altitude of 3000 feet. Any questions on the briefing? No? Wonderful, so that's our taxi checklist complete.
Give way to the Ataro 21 on your right.
Give way to the Ataro 21, Iberia 597.
The sounds are really nice from the outside. That engine sounds fantastic. From the inside it's, well, much better than the previous version. I think that's the best way to say it. So the right side is clear, the left side is clear. Then we go left, and that leads us directly to the holding point for the full length. Turkish is there as well, so we probably still have a little bit of time available. Oh, Turkish is lining up now. Perfect.
Beeline 5, Victor Bravo, taxi to parking via Charlie 4, hold short of runway 1, then Echo 3, inner, Mike, inner.
Charlie 4, hold short of runway 1, then Echo 3, inner Mike, inner Beeline 5, Victor Bravo.
So, departure 127575. Well, and here's the holding point, so let's return to our departure chart. Just a quick note, after takeoff remain on frequency. Yep, so we call departure when advised by the tower.
Push and start approved.
Alright, Turkish is departing.
Google Air 3907.
Alrighty. So, here we are. I think they forgot us, so let's call tower 118605. Brussels Tower, Scandinavian 4744, ready for departure. Departure is pre-selected.
Scandinavian 4744, Brussels Airport Tower, runway 01, winds 100 at 10, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 25 right, cleared for takeoff, Scandinavian 4744. Yep, we are not on 01, my friend. I'm not gonna discuss that with the AI. Okay. Weather radar is on. TCAS is clear and looking off the right hand side, the approach area is clear. Very good. Before takeoff checklist. Trims 0, 0 and set. Fuel heat off. APU air off, pneumatic transfer feeds closed, brake temperatures checked, ignition both, and EOAP checked before takeoff checklist complete. Ready? Then let's do this rolling. So, timing. Stabilized. Set takeoff thrust. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal. Clamp. 80 knots. Checked. V1. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. So, nav is engaged. Man, that is quite the input we need to get a decent roll rate. Okay, 1500. VNAV.
Scandinavian 4744, contact departure on 127.575.
127.575, Scandinavian 4744. Okay, flaps up. Speed check, flaps up. Brussels departure, Scandinavian 4744, passing 2800, climbing flight level 60. And slats retract. Speed check, slats retracted.
Scandinavian 4744, Brussels approach, identified. Climb flight level 060, direct Nikki.
Climbing level 60, direct Nikki, Scandinavian 4744. Okay, hydraulic pumps going into low mode since the exciting stuff, so gear retraction, flap retraction and so on, is over. Then let's accelerate towards 250 knots. Here we go.
4744, climb flight level 220.
Climbing flight level 220, Scandinavian 4744. Set, 220 checked, and alt capture is armed. Autopilot on, and after takeoff climb, well, after takeoff checklist please. Brake temperature checked, landing gear up, flap slats 0 and retracted, engine ignition off, fuel tank pumps.
Scandinavian
Well,
4744,
suppose we can turn them off.
Brussels control on 125.0.
125.0, Scandinavian 4744. Okay, keep climbing please. Brussels control, Scandinavian 4744, flight level 67, climbing flight level 220. Alright, engine anti-ice on.
Scandinavian 4744, Brussels control identified. Good afternoon.
Okay. So the after takeoff checklist is complete, we are nicely on the way. What else could we be asking for?
Sun Express 53 Hotel, direct Liverpool, cleared for the ILS runway 09er approach. Descend and maintain altitude 2.
Interesting.
500 feet
It
until
draws a
establishing
direct line to the
altitude
destination,
1009er.
but not the actual route. Okay, so be it. What do we have there? Oil pressure is a little high right now, but, well, that is gonna come down. I'm not too worried about that. So, altimeter. Actually, tell you what, it's done that.
Scandinavian 4744, Brussels control, climb flight level 280.
Climbing flight level 280, Scandinavian 4744. Set, 280 tracked, and armed. Alright, cool. So let's do the let's do the 10 checks. That's what I was about to say. The fuel is balanced, and we got 6 pumps on, the lights are off, Anglo APU is off, air conditioning and pressurization is at 4.3, climbing and set. Okay, fasten belts. Yeah, I think we can let them go. Auto, and we are monitoring 1 to 1.5. Then let's log on to CPDLC. After clearing all that scratch pad, here we go. So menu, ACARS, CPDLC, connection, notification, Echo, Bravo, Bravo, uniform. Here we go, notify. Okay, perfect. So let's see, cruise page tells us optimum is 348, we're filed in flight level 350, so that's all we could be asking for. So I would say we've done about everything we could. We can still turn the anti-ice off.
Scandinavian 4744, contact Amsterdam radar on 134.375.
134.375, Scandinavian 4744, bye-bye. Amsterdam, good morning, Scandinavian 4744, passing flight level 134, climbing flight level 280.
Scandinavian 4744. Amsterdam radar. Identified. Hello.
Well then, I would say, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us, and I'll get back to you when we start the approach into Oslo.
Scandinavian 4744, contact Oslo approach on 118.48.
118.48, Scandinavian 4744. So, 118.48. And we've got ATIS. Mike. Oslo approach, Scandinavian 4744, passing 14,600, descending 4,000.
Scandinavian 4744, Oslo approach,
identified. Good afternoon. Cleared Valpu transition. Expect the ILS runway 1 left approach into Oslo.
Cleared Valku transition for the ILS 01 left into Oslo, Scandinavian 4744. Okay, good. Then we have to reprogram the FMC real quick, because we are set up for runway 1 right. So let's go departure arrival, ILS 1 left from Valpu. Reprom 3 Lima stays unchanged. Here we go. Vertical profile exactly the same as before. So the descent page is checked, the forecast page is still checked. We don't need any fixed rings on this one. However, just to get the distance to the airport, I am going to insert Oslo over there. And that's that. Now let's quickly have a look into the charts. So that's 1 right. And that's 1 left. So 110.3. And 012 on the courses, which we've already got. 857 the minimum, plus cold temperature correction is 887, so pretty much like this, more or less unchanged. That's 200 radio, which we can keep. Okay. So that's a new setup. Then let's see if there's any shortcut available. Scandinavian 4744, any chance to proceed direct Valpu?
Scandinavian 4744, affirmative, proceed direct Wapu.
Thank you, direct Valpu, Scandinavian 4744. Okay, Valpu direct, execute, and here we go.
Control on 118.88.
Beautiful. So for the approach briefing, MSA 4,000 feet all around, and we are going to fly the ILS 1 left via Valpu. What are we doing? MSA, well, we had that. Minimum is 877, and we've got nothing special, nothing non-standard. Extra fuel 4.1 at the moment, and the minimum is 2.7, so we got about 20 minutes extra. Alright, the approach will be well, first of all we can descend down towards 4,000 feet, so Scandinavian 4744, any speed restriction?
Scandinavian 4744, no speech restrictions.
Thank you, no speed restrictions, Scandinavian 4744. So let's do 250.
4744, understood.
Yeah, whatever. So, where are you leading us? Returning to the route. Tell you what, let's just update the direct ones. Valpu. Here we go. Alright, cool. Yeah, so for the briefing, we are arriving on the ILS runway 1 left, flight directors on, and a flaps 28 approach. Now here's something that I keep forgetting in this airplane. Takeoff selector is stowed again, and that's it.
I've got a shortcut for you. Descend altitude 5,000 feet, turn left, heading 050 vectors for the ILS runway 1 left approach.
Descend altitude 4,000, fly heading 050 vectors ILS 1 left, Scandinavian 4744. $5,000 is checked. Okay, beautiful. So then, let's quickly go over the approach checklist. So that's cabin signs.
Scandinavian 4744, turn right heading 080.
Turn right heading 080, Scandinavian 4744. Heading 080.
4744, 13 miles from Ogras. Turn left heading 030, descend altitude 4,000 feet until established on the localizer. Cleared for the ILS runway 1 left approach.
Left 030, descend 4000, cleared ILS 1 left, Scandinavian 4744. Okay, good. So approach checklist again, please. Cabin signs on and on. Fuel system is set. Altimeters in box. Set and cross-checked. Approach checklist complete. Okay, so extend the centerline, please. And that vector does not look exactly excellent. Let's make that heading 040 here. So extend the centerline. We'll take Ogras, intercept leg, and that is going to be 012 degrees. Like that. Here we go, that's an extended centerline for us. Okay, lovely. So here's our ILS, already alive. Let's slowly start slowing the airplane down here. Vertical speed. $16 to the ILS, 5,000 feet, which is 4,500 AGL. Perfect. The MD-80 is a little she's a little hard to control on speed, so always stay on that. So, let's extend. .210 knots is fine for the time being, but gotta be a little bit careful there that we leave ourselves enough room to decelerate further later on. I think if we just go down to 180, that's actually the better choice to make right now. Okay. Yeah, beep.
Scandinavian 4744.
Okay, we're cleared for the approach.
Contact Oslo Tower on 118.305.
118.305, Scandinavian 4744. Bye-bye. Cardamom Tower, Scandinavian 4744, ILS 1 left.
Scandinavian 4744, Gardermoen Tower, roger, continue approach ILS, runway 1 left.
Continue ILS 1 left, Scandinavian 4744. So, localizer alive, and localizer capture, glide slope capture. Go around altitude 5000 set. Flaps 15. Runway heading 012 set. And there's our runway. I like it. Manual flight. Manual thrust.
2500.
Terrain noted.
Scandinavian 4744, winds 010 at 5, runway 1 left, clear to land.
Runway 1 left, cleared to land, Scandinavian 4744. Alright, gear down. So, set speed 138.
ICR 319er, contact departure.
Okay, flaps 28. Speed checked, flaps 28. Auto brake is armed. Final checklist. Landing gear down 3 green. Flaps flats 28 extended. Speed brakes armed. Engine ignition. Both EOAP checked. Final checklist complete. So a little bit of trim. Here we go. So the speed indicator is not quite easy to read on this airplane, just for the fact that it is an analog indicator. But as long as the speed on the FGCP has been set up here, you can simply use the fast-slow indicator here. And that way it is pretty easy to control.
1,000.
Checked. So ground speed 133 knots, so we need about 700 feet a minute rate of descent. That way it's quite easy to fly the plane accurately. It's kind of a little different instrumentation that you are using here compared to your other modern jetliners, but overall it's quite possible. Let's put it that way. It just needs a little bit of getting used to. Also the fact that your engines are located above the center of gravity in this airplane, so if you add thrust you're going to get a nose down movement, and if you remove thrust you're going to get a nose up movement.
Four.
500, continue. Approaching minimum. Minimum, continue.
Minimums. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Speed brakes up, thrust goes normal. And manual brakes. 100 knots, 80 knots, and 60 knots. Beautiful! Welcome to Oslo! That was a nice landing. I'm quite happy with that.
Scandinavian 4744, welcome to Oslo. Contact ground on 121.905.
121.9005 Scandinavian 4744.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Oslo. Did you know that Oslo is home to the world's first sculpture park made entirely of bronze? It's called the Vigeland Park, and it's quite a sight to behold. Thank you for flying with Scandinavian Airlines. Please remain seated until we reach our final parking position. The local time here is 1:30 in the afternoon. Captain Emmanuel, First Officer Stephanie.
Ground low, Scandinavian 4744, request taxi to the gate.
Flight 123 to Stockholm. Departs at 2:15 gate 21. And flight 234 to Copenhagen. Departs at
Scandinavian 4744, taxi to East Apron, gate 36 via Alpha 6, Victor Romeo. Have a great day.
Gate 36 via Alpha 6, Victor Romeo, Scandinavian 4744. Okay, Victor Romeo to the gate. So pretty much straight ahead. Then let's go. Come on, airplane. Please start moving. Here we go. That's better. Alright, after landing checklist, flap slats, 15 extended, speed brake retracted, engine ignition off, UAP. Interesting, why did it turn the odometer and mouth trim off? Did I mess anything up? Oh, here we go. Okay. That's probably better. Alright, so UAP is check pitot and static heaters off, anti-ice off, radar off, after landing checklist complete. Okay, so let's find the taxi or the parking chart. Gate 36, so we continue via Romeo and then into the corner. Okay, interesting. And all of that is behind that middle part of the terminal. Good. So we got that. So let's see if we can prepare our ground services. .36, no follow me needed, handling by Scandinavian. And here we go. Okay, Romeo is next to the right. Ooh, the sun is quite low already, and we're going right into it. What else? Technically speaking, I'm not supposed to do this, but it's better to see something than to see nothing. Okay, start APU. Okay, we gotta be parking to the left of that Norwegian over there. Yep, there's some staff down there. Taxi light off.
Act like 2, runway 1 left, taxi by November Alpha 1.
Now, as always, the challenge is to get the plane in without damaging anything, but that looks quite clear. The 737 is far enough away. Okay. DC-82, yeah, so, well, we'll accept that. Alright, APU is available. Coming through, disarm doors and cross-check.
Nordic 54 Zulu ready to taxi.
Okay, and here we are.
Nordic 54 Zulu.
Engines running down.
Taxi via Golf November Alpha 1.
External power is also already available. APU bleed on, and then... that's it. Parking checklists. Fuel tank pumps, one on, aux and transfer hydraulics. I always forget about those. Are off, and the parking brake and pressure set and checked. Parking checklist complete. Well, my friends, and that was our very first flight with the Fly the Maddog MD-80 20th Anniversary Edition. Did I say adversary? Oh god. Yeah. 20th Anniversary Edition. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I most certainly enjoyed this one. A little bit of feedback here. Of course, I forgot the anti-collision light, as I always do in this airplane. So a little bit of feedback. The plane looks better. I mean, especially from the outside and in the passenger cabin. The sounds are a lot more immersive. You've noticed that I didn't insert any music or something, because I simply thought, well guys, honestly, this already sounds good. Why should I override that? So, certainly made some progress over there. Obviously you feel that it's still a port of the FS 2020 version with some improved graphics and sounds, but yeah, definitely worth a couple cups of coffee. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. I do hope you liked it. Leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video. As always, like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.